Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am the Motorcycle Rescuer, and this is Motorcycle Rescuer. So here's the new tap. It looks identical to the original because it is, but the original has two coming out here instead of one. I do expect this to fit and work. I hope the bolt's in here though. If not, I'll have to find one. What you do is you pop the bottom off here and you bolt it up, and then you put the bottom back on. Obviously you need the seal there. So it might work, it might not. I actually don't know yet. I just need to try it. We are on off, I believe. Okay, so I just need to get on with some of this and see how it all goes. So the tap is on and appears to work. You won't know now if it seals or not without trying it. One thing I'm not sure is it has S, on and R. So on and R is obviously reserve, and on, what does the S stand for on a Honda? S. Stop, maybe? Stop, yeah, maybe. Rather than off. Okay, let's put some fuel in and just make sure it sits at this stage. I've got a little bit in the container. I'm just going to sit it probably across the bike for a few minutes and just check for drips. No point carrying on at this stage until we know whether that is sealed or not. And that, you know, something flows out of it as well actually. So I put probably 2.5 litres in there. It looks fine, it looks sealed. I'd be curious if it flowed or not. Well, apparently not. Let's try reserve. There you go. Reserve's flowing. On is flowing, and off is off. That's good news, and also it's flowing clean. Good, very happy with that at this stage. Okay, so now I need to work out fuel lines. I wonder if I need to put carbs and throttle cable on first. Carbs and throttle cable first. Yeah, I think carbs. What my plan is to have one line come out into a filter, into another line, and then break into two. Oh, I've got a splitter somewhere. Yeah, let me get the carbs seated. I need to find 4 nuts to bolt it on to. Okay. So I'm just running the new cable. Guys, it's common sense. There's lots of people online moaning about this cable routing. I don't know if this is a longer one or what. It's common sense. Run it down one side, run it to the other, hook it up, you know. Don't let the fault of it ruin your life. This should go on actually, well, maybe. I'll do the other side and then I'll hook it up here so that we have full, and then we'll be adjusting control from the top caps here, which is what me and John never had for a long time on his. We struggled with adjustment. You can adjust up here as well if needed, but better to adjust from the top hats there. Great, we're at a nice stage. What I'll be doing once these cables are on is I'll be looking in, I'll be turning the throttle and looking in and seeing if either of the carb lifts first, and then I'll be balancing the throttles from here using the top hats there. Making sure they both lift at exactly the same time. So cables are on. I was just about to close this up and then I thought I meant to look at the starter button. Now look, the starter button pushes this and then this pushes on to somewhere else. I'm popping it out. I'm going to give it all a clean, put it back in and hope that it does what I think it does. My guess is it's meant to touch the other side and that sends the circuit. That's my guess, but I genuinely don't know. So I'm going to pull it off, clean it, put it back on as best as I can, in hope that we fix that. If you can't fix that, you could always run a switch somewhere up here, separate switch, cut the wires, run it up. A press switch, that would be fine. It's always worth having a little clean of this stuff, guys. You know, pop it apart, give it all a good clean. I think actually that touched that, which pushed that onto that. I think it was a metal connecting thing that sets the starter motor off. I think that's what happens. And when it's this corroded, you're not going to get a contact. So, I mean, that's my guess. I'm not 100% sure, but worth cleaning it up, putting it back on for its originality, and then seeing where you go from there. I really don't mind if this was a kick bike only, but it'd be good to know if its electrics are okay. Considering the front light was on with the key, I think all the rear lights will be fine, and the brake lights. My guess is that that's all okay at this stage. So I'm going to clean all this up, put it back in as best as I can, and see if we've got lucky, really. Although saying that, I have no battery to test it, so it will be testing on the next occasion. So my guess is that this hasn't resolved anything, because there's no wiring to any of this. So when you press that button, nothing's happening, literally. What's that yellow wire there? That's probably a starter wire. I wonder what's happened there. I think that's probably your issue there. My guess is that that wire should be touching on here, should be soldered on here. And then when we press the button, I think... actually, I don't know, I couldn't tell you. But if we know that the yellow wire is the wire, we can run a separate switch if needed. I'm sure I'm going to end up back in there at some point. But for now, I do want to get the throttles on and sorted. So it's going to be really hard to show you this, almost impossible, but the left carb is more responsive to the throttle than the right. So you can see it, well, I don't know if you can see it, but I can hear the left is much more responsive than the right. So I need to nip the right a little bit up just to take off some of the slack, not much at all, just a little bit, and then we're balanced actually. Then you're just looking at the carbs and noticing that they rise at the same time. That's kind of that step done, if we're being honest. They're so small, these carbs, it's really funny. Even none of my traditional air filters would have gone on there anyway. Although I can't currently afford the air boxes, but they would go here, and one on the other side. It's about 100 quid for the 2 air boxes second hand. Not, you know, not the end of the world, but you need funds to get this stuff done at all. Great. I'm very happy with the throttle. Well, once I've nipped this up a little, and I want to at least look at getting the fuel line. I'm not really sure yet, but I guess I need to get it into it. I need to find a link pipe. It'll be something a bit closer. They'll be kind of down here, and then we'll have a flow to a single tube with a filter. So that's not too bad. This old wire was really old and dirty looking. I mean, from a colouring point of view, huge difference. Okay, so we're doing bits. We're doing bits. We've got carbs on our bike now, guys. It makes it a bike. Look, it makes it a bike. Lovely. If there were little air filters for these things, little velocity stacks or something, and they were okay, it'd be okay. Problem if I get air boxes is that I then have to somehow fill them in. That would have been the old toolkit box. Yeah, I mean, really, I'd want the air boxes and the side panels. And then me and John, I don't know if I said it earlier, we're talking about the seat, and we either bolster that one up or we get an original seat and just trim it all down so it still gives you that calf look. Money, 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 guys. Right, let me get this balanced a bit better. And then I'm gonna run the little fuel line to the fuel tank with a filter and see if I can find a connection piece in the garage. I have had some over the years. So the fuel splitter I've got is very big, too big. So I need to get a new one, which is fine. I'll pop down to Halfords, they have them on the shelf. They're not brass, they're plastic, but they're fuel resistant ones. They're for fuel lines. Of course we can put slightly bigger lines on and this and that, but it's not needed. They're tiny little carbs, 100cc. It doesn't need it. I'm going to take this with me so I know to get smaller than this. And everything else is kind of okay. I don't know if I need a bit of smaller line for the tank. I should probably pick up some. Yeah, I'll see how I feel later. I'll take a drive and a little bit of smaller line for the tank, especially as we're going into the fuel filter as well. So we're at a really nice stage. Tomorrow or whenever, I might be able to kick this over and we'll see what's happening. It might splutter to life, you know. It should really. There's no reason why it wouldn't. But I do want to run everything properly, all the lines and stuff at this stage. Cool. The chain guard looks great compared to the rest of it. Don't really know what to do with the rest of it. I've seen people online, they just mask behind and tape and paint it on, or spray it on, just clean it up. It probably needs that. And again, the other part of me thinks no, actually it's going to be a great on-road riding bike. It doesn't need any of that. So I'm torn at this stage, but that's okay. Let's hear this thing at some point first. Let's know that we have a good running engine before we do anything else. I'm very pleased with the outcome of the front brake. It feels lovely. I'll probably put some new brake pads in. I found them for only 20 quid. I'll almost definitely put them in eventually. Now I'm using little washers as spacers in there, but really we should have a gasket in there, but there isn't any. You can buy some gasket paper and make it, but I'm okay with it as it is at the moment. The gap's not huge. Water could get in a little bit, so I may look at that. I might maybe put a some sort of Vaseline or something on there. I don't know. It's not a huge gap, like I said. This is new to me, guys. This is new to me. I only knew it needed a gasket by looking at an online tutorial, and it said, basically said you can't get these gaskets. But it's got its carbs. I'm very pleased. Let me get a picture of that. So yes, welcome back. Absolutely overwhelming response to this bike. Someone messaged and said they were the 100th like. I haven't known any of my videos to get over 100 likes. I did go back to some of them. Some of them are just creeping over 100 now, which is unbelievable. But as far as I was aware, this is the first one that I've ever known of to get over 100 likes. That's brilliant. That shows that it's worth doing something slightly different on the channel to get the audience, you know, to participate a bit more. And when I say participate, I mean offer advice and support, drop likes, make sure you're subscribed and stuff like that. All of that is how this channel survives. It's how it works. The absolute overwhelming advice is to go completely original. I don't know if I can, guys. I don't know if the original bike, go online and have a look at the original cb200. They're really ugly, square looking, boring bikes. They just are. And then you look at this in its shape with a seat like that and the original tank on, and it's stunning. So my hope is to do something in between. I've got two options at this stage with the seat, for example. Fair enough, I'm not going to chop anything. At first, I probably was. I'm not going to chop anything, because you can't. This frame's nearly 50 years old, so I agree, shouldn't chop. Here's my thoughts. I'm either going to get an original seat, a brand new cover, cut the foam down. The original seat will bolt on and pivot and lock in place like normal. Cut, maybe, because the original seats are really fat, guys. You know, cut less than an inch out of the foam. Pull a new cover down, or you know, if it's an old good cover, it probably needs a new cover. Pull it down taut, staple it underneath, and then you should have an original base plate with a more trim seat. It's not going to have this design in it, but it will look better than the original. The original's really fat, you know, it's really fat, it's like that. You're sitting too far up, it's very spongy. It's there for a reason. But I like this trim look. The handlebars, I don't know yet. I need to literally try it. I mean, I need to get this bike up and running and be able to try it to see how I feel about the handlebars. You just don't know that stuff, guys, until you're doing it, you know. They might even be the original handlebars upside down. I don't know. It probably needs airboxes. I mean, I'm going to see how it runs today in this setup, but it probably needs airboxes. The ones I've found are 44 quid each or something, so it's another 100 quid for the 2 airboxes. If you get the airboxes, you probably need the side panels to cover them in. They're also another kind of 50 quid each, so that's 200. So at the moment it's going up very quickly in the hundreds, and actually it's not funds we've got at this stage. At this stage I can't afford to get the airboxes and side covers, which is fine. There's no rush at all. So you'd have the normal tank, some sort of original base seat, or original base with this on top of it, so it still pivots, somehow securing this to the original base plate, something like that. Airboxes and side panels on. Leave the polishing alone, I think. Some sort of very basic calf racer style number plate holder and a very basic round light. Some people are saying put the indicators on. You probably could. I've got 4 black indicators in here. The wiring appears to be there. Probably could. I'm not sure, if I'm being honest. I'd need to check all the wiring. I kind of want it to be as basic as possible, and then of course the new owner has the right to do whatever they want. So that's where we sit on this. It's a long old intro there, guys, but that is what we're looking at today. In this video we should be looking at its first startup, at least, you know, an attempt at its first startup. We've got the bits we need down there to make the tap a 1 into 2. That will be fine. I just have to work out a kind of routing system because it needs to flow. It will always find its way to the second carb. You never have to worry about that. The fuel will always fill up one carb and then find its way to the second. There's no issues there with that. People get a bit funny with the routing of this stuff, and it's completely unnecessary unless it's kind of ridiculous. You don't need to over worry about that. So I think step 1 for me is to get some sort of, to get a line on here, that get the Y piece, single line, filter, single line, and see if we can connect that to the tank and see if that is a system that will flow fuel.